Alright, first things first. The release of the Secrets of Wealth audio program has been a tremendous success, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your support. And a bonus video for the program is forthcoming, because one, I like to over-deliver, as taught by many of my mentors, and two, after you focus intensely on something for a while, and then let it go, the subconscious mind will bring more to you. And we've talked about this a lot, on the importance of meditation and so forth. So after releasing the program and just letting it go, releasing it from myself, my conscious mind, then I had a flood of things come to me that I would like to put in there as well. So I've jotted down my notes as they've come to me, and so a bonus video for the program will be forthcoming probably within another week or so, as soon as I can get to it. And of course, this will be absolutely free for those who have already purchased the program. It will be announced when it's ready to go. And so with that out of the way, let's get into it. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about the planet Venus, the goddess of love. Venus is currently retrograde right now, and it's said that when Venus is retrograde, relationships could suffer, and it's not the best time to start a new relationship, despite the temptations that it may bring. Now, I've been quite fortunate not to have experienced this myself with Venus retrograde, but one of the things that is also said is that during this time, people from your past can re-enter your life. And that's certainly been true for me. Just last week I got a Facebook request from somebody I haven't heard from in 20 years. But as with all planets and retrograde cycles, it's largely going to depend upon your planet placements and the aspects to those planets that will depend on how you are affected by it. So let's get into some of the qualities of Venus. Venus is a very feminine planet. Out of the 7 traditional planets, Venus and the Moon have the distinction of being feminine, and as such are very connected to nature. Venus is highly representative of Mother Nature herself, as depicted on the tarot card, the Empress. As you can see, the astrological sign for Venus is on the Empress's shield. All of the cards in the major arcana of the tarot are representative of a planet or a sign, and we at some point will go over all of those. But the tarot card for Venus is the Empress, and is very highly connected to nature. And so Venus is very feminine. In fact, the astrological symbol for Venus is the same symbol that we use for females. Just as the astrological symbol for Mars we use to also represent males and masculine energy. So let's talk about some of the things Venus governs or rules over. Well, there's love, as she is also known as Aphrodite. Venus rules over beauty, nature, art, justice and equality, what we value, and to some degree our wealth. And so let's talk about a few of these for a moment. When most people think of Venus as the goddess of love and attraction, they mainly think of it as attracting other people. But this is only one aspect of it, because where Venus falls in your chart is going to indicate what you value and what you love, depending upon the signs, houses, and aspects to your planet placement. And so this is what I mean by looking to Venus in your chart to help you find your purpose, to help find what you are attracted to by the house and the sign that Venus is located in your natal chart. And then look to Mars to see where your motivation is, what gives you your drive, and then combine the two. So it's not just people that we love, it's what we value and love to do in general. My Venus happens to be in Sagittarius. Religion, philosophy, higher learning, self-development, teaching. My Mars is in Scorpio. Magick and the occult. Now you can see how I'm not just teaching magic and the occult, but higher learning and self-development, because that's what I am attracted to develop oneself into their highest self. Philosophy, know thyself. Now I said that Venus rules over wealth to some degree, and I say to some degree because if I'm going to turn to one of the planets to do a money spell, for example, I'm going to use Jupiter, the planet of expansion, no question. The wealth provided by Venus is strongly connected to what you value and what you love. In other words, Venus is most effective in regards to wealth if you are on your purpose, doing that which you love, adhering to your values. Now, Venus rules over two signs in the zodiac, Taurus and Libra. Taurus is fixed earth and is the sign that is attributed to values, what it is we value. This is also Venus's connection to nature and Mother Earth, as the element of earth, especially fixed earth, is the most stable, meaning that Taurus is the most material of all the signs. And its house is the second house, also known as your money house. And although all your finances aren't going to be dictated by the second house, as there are many other factors in the chart and other planets and signs that come into play, your second house and the sign of Taurus is greatly influenced by its ruler, meaning your Venus placement, what it is you love, and your values. Now, the sign of Libra, the other sign that Venus rules over, is the sign of relationships, marriage, but it also has to do with equality, justice. Libra is cardinal air, and as we have gone over before, air is the element of thoughts and ideas. The seventh house is Libra's house and is typically thought of as the house of relationships and marriage. But it's also your sense of justice and equality. A good word for the sign of Libra is balance. Libra rules over the kidneys, whereas Taurus rules over the nose, mouth, and throat. And so Venus is very strongly associated with the voice. You hear it said all the time of singers having a beautiful voice, because Venus rules a sense of beauty, what we find beautiful, attractive, that which we are drawn to. And in this regard, Venus rules over art. The kind of art that you like is going to be influenced by your placement of Venus. Venus's day of the week is Friday, and so the best time to do those love spells are on Friday during the hour of Venus. And its color is green. Again, associated not only with nature, but to some degree your wealth and money as well, but only through its Venusian channel, which is your purpose, what you love to do. It's no coincidence that the second house of money is also related to the sign of values, and the planet ruling over it all is the planet of love. So if you're on your purpose, Venus will open the gates for you and grant you her boons. Venus is known as the lesser benefic, But just because Venus is the goddess of love doesn't mean that she's not capable of causing some turmoil. Aphrodite was the source of many wars. She can be the object of competition for the male energy of Mars, like two guys competing and fighting over the affection and favor of the same woman. And it's also to keep in mind the importance of hell hath no fury like a woman scorned when it comes to Venus. It's always a good idea to be as respectful as you possibly can in regards to nature. So that's a little overview of the planet Venus. And I thought it would be a good time to go over it since we're in the middle of a retrograde cycle. So if things are kind of getting topsy-turvy in your relationships and love life, or if people from your past are popping up all of a sudden, then this is the planet that is influencing it. But as with all things, it will come to an end, and Venus will go stationary direct on September 8th. So we have a month to go before things get back to normal. The only other thing that I could say is that if you normally have quote-unquote bad luck with Venus, love, attraction, etc., relationships, then Venus retrograde may not be a bad time for you and may actually be the best time to work with Venus. You know, there's always a few for whom the rules are reversed depending upon their placements and aspects. You know, I didn't let it stop me from launching a product. For example, if it was a Mercury retrograde, then I may have held off. But the Venus retrograde did not, even though Venus does have an influence over that particular source of income. And of course, this is based upon my own particular planet placement of Venus. And it's not that my natal placement of Venus is in a bad spot, or that I have quote-unquote bad luck with Venus, as it's a typical neutral placement. But it is conjunct another planet. And so when a retrograde rolls around, it can give me a bit more separation between the two, which tends to work out in my favor. So you want to avoid the idea that retrogrades are bad things and that no good can come from them. That's not always the case. It really comes down to getting familiar with the energy and what the planets symbolize and rule over, and using those to your advantage. And that will about do it for today. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for their messages of support, and I will see you next time. Take care.